What's the largest planet in the solar system? If you talk about Jupiter, you are right. It's huge and contains a lot of mysteries that have been fascinating scientists since it was discovered. Thanks to the multiple spacecraft that have been orbiting the planet, we've been expanding our knowledge of Jumbo Planet significantly. What have scientists recently discovered on Jupiter? And how did the discoveries affect the Sun and our own planet? We bring you the insane new discoveries scientists just made from the images of Jupiter. This past fall, NASA released these exclusive photos, and we've barely begun re-looking at them yet. The planet Jupiter is the largest in the solar system. It was named after the king of the gods, Jupiter in Roman mythology. This guest Jain appears as an enigma due to the mood of his work, which is shrouded by some colorful clouds that are assaulted by immensely strong winds. There also appear to be circles of rings and moons everywhere, with a peculiar hue from below. Jupiter is simply gigantic. The size of the planet is exactly twice that of any other planet in our solar system. It's even heavier than all the other planets put together. The largest storm on the planet, the Great Red Spot, covers an area close to Earth's size. It will be revealed more in this video. Jupiter is big enough to contain it more than 1,300 Earths, so that's a scale of proportions. You can compare the size of Jupiter to a basketball and Earth as the size of a grape. We have a new theory that Jupiter is actually the oldest planet in the solar system. Scientists said that it is made up of leftover gases from the formation of our Sun. But more interestingly, if Jupiter had been at times larger when it formed, it would have been a star. A star in the same league as the Sun, but a star nonetheless. Astronomers called Jupiter a failed star, but that's not really an appropriate description. Jupiter does not have enough mass to trigger a fusion reaction in its core. This is how stars generate energy, by fusing hydrogen atoms together under extreme heat and pressure to create helium, releasing light and heat in the process. Jupiter's orbit average is about 483,682,810 miles, or 778,412,020 kilometers from the Sun. This means that it is 5,203 times farther than Earth's average distance from the Sun at perihelion. That is, the point Jupiter is closest to the Sun is at 460,276,100 miles, or 740,742,600 kilometers away. But at Elian are the farthest distance that Jupiter reaches from the Sun. The distance jumps to 507,089,500 miles, or 860,081,400 kilometers, is the third brightest object in the solar system after Venus and the Moon. You can see Jupiter without the aid of an instrument. Many people have seen the planet, but are not aware of what it is. If you see a bright star high in the sky, then you're probably looking at Jupiter. Even the most basic binoculars can help people see Jupiter in greater detail. But if you are able to get a telescope, you will have a better view and may even be able to spot some of Jupiter's moons. If you define yourself as a planet on Jupiter, it's best to think of it as the planet that has an atmosphere similar to the Sun. This is due to the idea that Jupiter is made up of the remains left over from when our Sun formed. However, despite being on such a small planet, you can still find a core that is partially dissolved. The colorful light and dark bands that you can observe covering Jupiter are created by strong east-west winds in the planet's upper hemisphere. They move at a dizzying speed of more than 335 miles per hour, or 539 kilometers per hour. They even study the chemicals found at the most invisible depths and reveal them below, because they contain blue crystals that are often seen in clouds. When the rain comes while you're wearing your sunglasses, they'll help to prevent irritation and shocking. What you get is a diamond. Scientists have discovered the magnetic field of Jupiter, which tops the list among all these planets. It is a hopping 20,000 times stronger than the Earth's. This strong magnetic field that contains electrons traps those electrons and other charged particles, which causes radiation on a scale that is too high to kill humans. The moons are directly receiving this intense radiation from Jupiter. Apart from the Sun, it is also the planet with most radio waves emitted by any object in the solar system. It is surprising to note that Jupiter rotates faster than any other planet. If it was not for this oddity, a day on the planet would be around 10 hours long. The rapid spin affects the planet's appearance, causing it to bulge at the equator and flatten it to pose the interaction of Jupiter's gravitational field, and that of the Sun also influences a group of more than 11,000 intriguing asteroids clustered into the regions preceding and following Jupiter in its orbit around the Sun. These asteroids are known as the Trojans, named after characters in Homer's epic, the Iliad. This story is a story about people waging war on each other from different sides of this world. Remember the great red spot we talked about earlier? What exactly is it, and what gives it the reddish hue? The Great Red Spot is a giant storm blowing like a hurricane nonstop for more than 350 years. The first time it was identified by Italian astronomer Giovanni Cassini in 1665. Its edge spins in the counterclockwise direction at speeds between 270 and 425 miles per hour, or 430 to 680 kilometers per hour. This counterclockwise direction, it makes it an anti-cyclone storm. Coming to the color, which can range from brick red to slightly brown, probably comes from small amounts of sulfur and phosphorus in the ammonia crystals in Jupiter's clouds. The spot has shrunk in recent years, although the decreasing rate may be slowing. However, Jupiter does also have some other storms aside from the Great Red Spot, according to data from the Juno spacecraft this year. Jupiter has gargantuan polar storms driven by convection or heat rising from lower altitudes. This guy spends a lot of time thinking about the solar system, but he forgets that Jupiter has 79 known moons and is basically an ocean vortex. Io, Europa, Ganymede, and Callisto are Jupiter's Galilean moons, which are sometimes referred to as the Galilean satellites. They were discovered by Galileo Galilei in 1610 and therefore bear his name. Jupiter has the largest moon in the solar system, known as Ganymede. This supersized moon is actually larger than Pluto and Mercury. Ganymede has the distinction of being the only moon known to have its own magnetic field. The Juno mission captured a terrifying sound coming from the magnetic field last year. It turns out it was caused by Ganymede, this planet-sized moon known for having one of the largest amounts of ice on its surface between layers. However, the moon may contain multiple layers of ice and water stacked on top of one another. Along with atmospheric water vapor first spotted last year, we will hear more about this fascinating moon as it will be studied in detail by the European Jupiter Icy Moons Explorer or JUICE spacecraft that will launch in 2023 and arrive at Jupiter system in 2030. Hio is one of 4 moons in Jupiter's orbit, which set the standard for being highly volcanically active. It's important to take your time studying this moon so that you have all the facts. Jupiter is often called the king of all planets for its large size and massive gravitational pull. As particles in Io orbit around Jupiter, it causes huge waves to rise in Io's solid surface and releases a lot of heat from volcanism. These volcanoes release more than 1 ton of material every second into the space around the moon. They can contribute to strange radio waves emanating from Jupiter. The yellow-orange pizza coloration is caused by the sulfur particles the volcano emits and Earth's orbit. Had you also mentioned Jupiter's rings, you would have received a correct answer. However, NASA has confirmed that it has 3 rings, while other planets like Saturn and Neptune have more prominent rings. Jupiter has a set of its own composed of dust particles coming from some of the moons. The main ring is about 20 miles or 30 kilometers thick and more than 4,000 miles, was 6,400 kilometers wide. And now we come back to the massive size of Jupiter, because scientists have discovered the effect it has on the whole solar system. Thanks to his massive gravity, and Jupiter has been fingered for pushing planets Neptune and Uranus away from the Sun. Jupiter's stuff just happened to fall from other planets, a time when the Earth was bombarded with debris. We now know Jupiter protects the inner planets by acting as a vacuum cleaner for the solar system. It helps to keep asteroids and comets from bombarding Earth, protecting it and other inner planets by cleanly swallowing them. Enormous gravity can suck in and absorb smaller objects, like the 1994 collision of Jupiter and comet Shoemaker-Levy 9 Jupiter, can also propel them out of the solar system entirely. Jupiter is a gaseous planet, unlike Earth and other planets in our solar system. But that doesn't change the fact that it's still a fascinating place full of gas giants, moons, and rings. It's even possible for life to exist there. Well, according to scientists, if life were to be on Jupiter, it would have to exist at a height literally in the clouds, or the temperature is about 70 degrees Fahrenheit or 21 degrees Celsius. The studies suggest Jupiter has enough water to sustain life, so perhaps one day we will find evidence some of life on Jupiter. However, life is more probable on one of Jupiter's moons, known as Europa. The moon could host a radiation-shielded hidden ocean, and marine life might be floating around there.